this time, we will be discussing about factoring the sum or difference of two cubes. How do we factor the sum or difference of two cubes?
The following patterns are applied in factoring the sum and difference of two cubes. Sum of cubes: a cubed plus b cubed equals the quantity of a plus b times the quantity of a squared minus ab plus b squared. Difference of cubes: a cubed minus b cubed equals the quantity of a minus b times the quantity of a squared plus ab plus b squared. To factor the sum and difference of two cubes, we have to get the binomial and trinomial factors. How are we going to get the binomial factor? To get the binomial factor, first, get the cube of the first term of the sum or difference. Second, get the cube of the last term of the sum or difference. Third, express the result in steps 1 and 2 as a binomial. How about the trinomial factor? To get the trinomial factor, first, square the first term of the binomial factor. Second, add the additive inverse of the product of the first and the last term of the binomial factor. Third, add the square of the last term of the binomial factor. And fourth, simplify the results.
Example number 1. We have 8 minus m cubed. So first, we are going to look for the binomial factor. How are we going to find the binomial factor? So all we have to do is get the cube root of the first term and the cube root of the last term. So the cube root of 8 is 2. And the cube root of m cubed is m. Why m? Since 3 divided by 3 is 1. No need to write exponent 1. So, our binomial factor is 2 minus, copy the sign, m. Next, we are going to look for its trinomial factor. How are we going to find the trinomial factor? Simple. Copy the binomial factor. First step, we are going to square the first term of the binomial factor. Since the sign here is negative, so the sign will be positive, according to the pattern we have earlier. Next is the product of the terms of the first term and the second term. And that is the square of the last term. Two times 2 is 4. 2 times m is 2m. Negative m times negative m is positive m squared. So, the factored form of 8 minus m to the power of 3 is the quantity of 2 minus m times the quantity of 4 plus 2m plus m squared. This is now the answer. Get it, class? Another example. We have 128j to the power of 6 minus 250k raised to the power of 3. As you can see, the given numbers are way too big. So, let's factor it out first. Their GCF is very obvious. We have 2. Let's factor out the greatest common factor, 2. 128j to the power of 6 divided by 2 is equal to 64j to the power of 6 minus 250k to the power of 3 divided by 2 is 128 25k cubed. So it's time to factor this. First, we have to look for the binomial factor. So how are you going to find the binomial factor again? All we have to do is to get the cube root of the first and the second term. The cube root of 64j to the power of 6 is 4j squared. The cube root of 125k to the power of 3 is 5k. So the binomial factor is 4j squared minus 5k. Next, we are going to look for the trinomial factor in order to complete its factor. Next, we are going to look for the trinomial factor. How are you going to find the trinomial factor again? Very simple. So simple. So, let's copy our binomial factor. We have 4j squared minus 5k. All we have to do is to square the first term. We have 4. Then the product of the terms contained in the binomial factor. We have, since it's negative, so we have positive here. Still according to the pattern. So we have 4j squared times 5k. And the last one is the square of the last term. So we have negative 5k squared. Let's simplify. 4j squared times 4j squared equals 16j to the power of 4 plus 4j squared times 5k equals 20j squared k. And the last one, we have negative 5k times negative 5k equals 25k squared. We have now the trinomial factor. Now it's time to write its factored form. Let's not forget about 2. So we have 2. Then the binomial factor, 4j squared minus 5k. And the trinomial factor, we have 16j to the power of 4 plus 20j squared k plus 25k squared. So, the factored form of 128j to the power of 6 minus 250k to the power of 3 is 2 times the quantity of 4j squared minus 5k times the quantity of 16j to the power of 4 plus 20j squared k plus 25k squared. Woo! Understood, class? That's all for factoring the sum or difference of two cubes. If you have questions, just drop your questions below on the comment section. Thank you and God bless.